This video will walk through the process of manually inputting player details and team details within a league in the Gallus event software. So here we are in the Gallus admin dashboard. We're going to take a click into events here, and it's going to show us all the events that we have created. Now we're talking about leagues, so I'm going to click the leagues tab in the top right and select a league that has already been created. So maybe I'll go into this one. So you'll notice that there's already information inputted in here. Many of you will probably use the spreadsheet template option to initially load your league roster in. We actually have a video that goes over that in detail. I'll link it in the top right of this one. But once you get that set up, you're likely throughout the season going to have to come in and make some edits or add players or change some team names, things of that nature. So first, let me walk through the league roster portion. So we're going to click on league roster here. On this league roster page, there are a number of things that you can do. First of all, you can select your round in the top left. Selecting this round is going to control the information that you're editing on this page. So things like their tee box, what their course handicap is, all of those types of deals. You want to first select the round that you want to edit. It's going to default to the one that is coming up next. So you just want to make sure that you have that chosen. As I mentioned, you can adjust tee box by coming in and just clicking which tee, and then that will adjust automatically. And you can go through. If you want to adjust handicap, you can click into the actual player, hit the edit pencil, and then that will give you a spot where you can adjust their course handicap. Throw it in and hit update. The course handicap that gets inputted here will apply to this round and all subsequent rounds as well. So it should act as an active kind of list for you, or your league roster, if you will. Another thing that's useful on this screen to mention is the email field. If you input an email here, it opens up the functionality of this send push notification button. When you hit send push notification, this is a really quick way to get a communication out to your league. When you hit it, it'll open a new window and it will autofill all of the email addresses in this box. What it's going to do is it's only going to send a push notification to users that have a matching email inputted in the user profile of their app. So it's going to send them a push, but you can really quickly come in here, send a message, schedule it or send it now, and hit send. Really handy for leagues. Getting back to the players list here, the league roster, another thing we can do is we can update GHIN. So if you had the foresight to input GHIN numbers for players, so like if I click into Adrian here, you can come in and you can input a GHIN number which links their GHIN account. That update handicap or update GHIN button is going to query GHIN's database, grab everybody's handicap index. It will then take into account the tee box that they have chosen. It will apply the proper slope rating and then produce a course handicap based off of the handicap allowances that you have set. So long story short, it's really advantageous to you to put in their GHIN numbers ahead of time, because then that's going to enable you to actually come in here and just click update GHIN on the day of the round and it'll update everybody, and you don't have to do any handicap calculations whatsoever. So what if you don't have a player actually inputted and you want to add them in? Again, you'll make sure that you're in the right round, but then you'll hit add player, and at this point you can input all of their details. So maybe I'm going to put in Nelson Cruz here. He's a male. I've done his course handicap calculation and he's 5, because I'm not using the GHIN one in this case, but if I was, all I'd have to do is just put the GHIN number in, hit search, and select his name, and it would automatically do that calculation for me. And then as for team, I have some teams created already. We'll talk about that in a second. So I'm just going to throw him on team 5. If I had like his email and some other things, I could hit more details and throw in his email. So maybe it's like Nelson@Padres.com. Throw in his phone if I want to keep track of that, and hit add. He'll show up in my list below, and he's good to go. He'll show up for every round that comes up, and he'll be in all the leaderboards and all that stuff too, which is really handy. Moving on, I'm just going to refresh my page here. After we have our players set up, you may be running a competition that's a team format. So the team format enables you to group players together, and then obviously it's going to have the scoring format for that particular team. So when you hit teams, you can come in here and you can hit add team. Adding a team means that you're going to give us an actual team name. So I'm uncreatively going to say team 11 here. If it's a net team scoring competition, you can input course handicap, and that, again, we have a similar round drop down here, so you can choose that to control which round you are editing. So if I'm going to do a 4, I'm going to hit add, and then it's going to give me an opportunity to just add players directly here. So if you're like creating a team from scratch, this is a really efficient way to come in and just create everybody right on one page. So you can keep going, or if you have an existing player, you can even hit select existing player, type their name in, and then it'll apply them to that team. Adjusting team information is very similar to how players' information is adjusted. You can just hit their team name. It'll take you to their details. You'll notice here that I have a scorecard that I can input. This particular one, I believe, is a it might be a scramble. So you can come in here and you can choose which round and then input their scorecard details. Or if, even better, if they kept score through the app, you can come in here and just ensure that they inputted everything correctly. If you have any changes, you can, of course, come in here and just override the scores that they had. That's something that I didn't mention on the players list. You can also go into the players list and you can adjust their scorecards too, just by clicking on the player name, as long as it's a individual scoring format league within. So now that we have our teams inputted and our league roster inputted, we can of course come in and edit our rounds throughout the season as well. Editing rounds is basically a place where you can come in and you can control all the details of your league that you initially set up on the create page. So you get your format here. This is your default scoring format for the entirety of the league. So you want to make sure that you only change this if maybe it's the beginning of your league, or if you really, really want to adjust after the fact. This is an important one, so to make sure to not come in here and just kind of keep switching it around. You see our season-long leaderboard points here. We can adjust that, but the important thing is we can do our rounds. So when you initially created the league, you may have done the auto-generate feature where you just input the date range for the league and it's going to create all the rounds, and it's going to give them the same format. It's going to be on the same course, the same default tee, all of that stuff. But you might have a league that's going around and doing different things. Maybe you're a 27-hole course, or you've got some routing options that you want to change. So if you want to change a specific round, you'll just click on the round. It'll take you to a screen with all the details on it, and you can come in here and you can make whatever adjustments you need. So maybe it's going to be on the south front 9. You want to change your default tee to be a white tee. And maybe you want to do a 1 best ball with an 80% handicap allowance instead of your standard scramble for that particular week. You could even change it to a tee time start if you wanted to do so. When you hit update, it's going to update that round. You can come back to the edit screen just to make sure that everything adjusted, which it did. And now if you go back to a player list in the league roster, you'll notice in round 3 it's got some different tee options and some things like that. So everything adjusted properly, which is good. So that's the details of managing your league roster and your teams within a league of the Gallus events software. Um, you should check out some of our other knowledge-based videos that are about things like leaderboards and flights and things of that nature too. Those are all on our YouTube page and also on our knowledge base at support.gallusgolf.com. If you'd like to just get some help from a real person, you can always give us a call at 888-426-8124 extension 2, or shoot us an email at support@gallusgolf.com. Or if you're viewing this on a page with the Gallus Golf domain, there's probably a chat box in either the bottom left or bottom right corner. So you can always use that if you just have a quick question you want to hit us up with. So thanks so much for watching, and hope you have a great rest of your day.